Hello everyone, I'm sorry about that. Our phone started overheating as it is getting quite hot here in Japan. So we had to end the live stream and restart it. They are getting a lot closer to the cove now. The skiffs are throwing weights that are tied to ropes to further push the dolphins in towards the mouth of the cove. We still don't know what species, but we will let you know as soon as we get confirmation on that. But thank you so much for joining us. I'm just going to relocate so we can get a better view. So the dolphins will just be coming around this corner. But they are about to be sealed into the cove where their fate will be determined. The hunters are just pulling the net across right now. So I'm just going to relocate to another location so we can get a better view, so please bear with me. So the dolphins have been netted into the cove. And here they'll either be put through a captive selection process or slaughtered for their meat. But they are trapped now, and there's no chance of escape for them. So I can now confirm this is a pod of melon-headed whales. The last pod of melon-headed whales was driven in on Sunday, which was actually a much larger pod that was split up. So it is possible that these dolphins hadn't travelled very far in the hope that they'd see their family members again. But they've now been driven in themselves. The tarps have not yet been pulled across. If you're just joining us, we're live from the Cove in Taiji, Japan, where a pod of melon-headed whales has been driven in. So far this season, 3 melon-headed whales have been taken for a life in captivity and 37 were slaughtered. They have a quota for 200 melon-headed whales. These poor dolphins are rubbing up against each other and seeking comfort from one another. But unfortunately, melon-headed whales are both captured and slaughtered. So it's possible none of them will be free again after today. So they're pulling the tarps across now. The hunters mask everything that they do to these dolphins, whether they're going through the captive selection process or being slaughtered. They try and conceal it from us so we can't see, and we can't broadcast it to the world because they know how cruel it is. So we get asked quite often why we can't intervene and go and cut the nets and save the dolphins. But we would be arrested and deported. We're followed by the police every day. And then there'd be no one here to bear witness to these dolphins and expose it to the world. At the moment, that branch is blocking the view from the dolphins, but you might see the odd one pop out from behind. We've also got to remember that these are wild dolphins who have never encountered a net before. So this is completely foreign to them, which is why they don't jump over the nets. If you're just joining us, this is Dolphin Project. We're live from the Cove in Taiji, where a pod of melon-headed whales has been driven in. We can see the dolphins spy hopping. They're observing their surroundings above the water. They've never been in such shallow water before. It is possible that these dolphins were part of the larger pod that managed to escape the hunters on Sunday. But we will never be able to know that. We can't confirm. These dolphins do really appear to be panicking. We can see them splashing quite a lot. So, as there were on Sunday, there are also some juveniles within this pod. On Sunday, the hunters slaughtered all the babies. So the hunters are beginning to push the dolphins using their engines closer towards the beach. There are no trainers here at the moment, indicating that this might just be a slaughter today. Obviously, if anyone else arrives, I'll let you know. We don't yet know how many dolphins are here in the cove, but once we do know, we'll post a report on Instagram, Facebook and Twitter later with the full details from today. These dolphins are being absolutely terrorized. I apologise for the lack of view that we have, but unfortunately the plants have grown quite a lot and it makes it very difficult for us to get a view of what happens. So they've just pulled another net across and enclosed the dolphins closer towards the killing beach. Just adjusting the tripod so you can get a view. So the hunters are continuing to use their engines to push the dolphins closer to the beach. So if you're just joining us, this is Dolphin Project. We're live from the Cove as a pod of melon-headed whales has been netted in. There are no trainers here at the Cove, and it appears that these dolphins will be slaughtered today. So far this season, 37 melon-headed whales have been slaughtered. That was on Sunday, just a few days ago. So they're still using their engines to push the dolphins. I can actually smell the petrol that they're burning. But these noises must be incredibly uncomfortable for the dolphins. They're extremely sensitive to sound. Sound to them is like sight is to us. So thrashing has started, indicating that they're beginning to slaughter these dolphins. Just a few hours ago they were swimming wild and free, and now their lives will be over. There's lots of shouting on the beach at the moment. Please share this live stream. It's really important that we expose what's going on here. It's the captivity industry that fuels these hunts, seeing as live dolphins and trained dolphins can be sold for so much money. They can be sold for up to 6 figures. We're unsure of how many dolphins are in the cove at the moment. We'll review our footage later and post it on our report, so do keep an eye on our social media pages. This pod started out to be a lot bigger this morning. But they intentionally split the pod. Really loud thrashing in the cove. I'll stay quiet so you can hear it. So we can hear the dolphins really struggling. You can hear them thrashing extremely loudly. The hunters claim that their method of killing is extremely fast, within seconds, but from the thrashing that we can hear, that just doesn't appear to be true. So they've already started taking the nets down. So the hunters are now removing this net as well. Can still hear thrashing, so the slaughter's not over just yet. So dolphin meat is sold in local supermarkets and restaurants, but actually not many people eat it due to the high levels of mercury. It's the captivity industry that motivates the hunters to keep on hunting, as they can make a lot of money per captive dolphin. From the melon-headed slaughter that occurred on Sunday, we saw in a supermarket nearby, we saw the meat being sold in packages. And the same will happen to these melon-headed whales that have just been slaughtered. A lot of people in Japan don't actually know that this happens, and they're astounded when they find out. And even some of the locals that we were speaking to just the other day were saying that they don't agree with the drive hunts, and they believe that these animals should be free. So the first skiff is just leaving the cove now with bodies. We've just seen them drape a tarp over the side of the skiff. See them just leaving. So the first skiff has left the cove with bodies, and there's a second one leaving that also has the bodies of the melon-headed whales that have just been slaughtered. Thank you so much for watching and bearing witness to these poor dolphins today. It appears that every single one was slaughtered. We're not sure quite how many just yet. We'll have to review our footage, but we will post on our social media. There is still a skiff down towards the beach, but I can't yet see if there are any dead bodies on there or not. One of the skiffs is returning. It's possible that they transferred the bodies onto a banger boat. To then be taken to the butcher house. We really appreciate your support. Thank you so much for watching this live stream and for sharing. That skiff is leaving without bodies. They're just folding up the tarp. On Sunday, the hunters made a real mess of the tarps and getting them over the nets, the dead bodies over the nets. But it appears they're being a bit more careful today. We haven't managed to see any of the dead bodies. So all but one of the nets is still in the cove. The water does look a little cloudy with the blood of the melon-headed whales. I'm not sure if you'd be able to see. But let's just hope the rest of the pod that managed to escape, let's hope that they swim far away from Taiji so that the hunters don't end up driving them in as well. This was over extremely quickly. The tarps are being pulled back, so the process is over. Please just bear with me a moment. I'm going to see if we can see the boats heading to the butcher house. So that skiff is just heading to take the dead bodies of the melon-headed whales to the butcher house. So I've just confirmed with one of the Cove monitors that a banger boat did meet the skiffs, and the hunters transferred the bodies to the banger boat to be taken back to the butcher house. I don't know why the camera suddenly flipped, just bear with me. Sorry, I appear to be having technical difficulties with the phone. But we'll sign off this live stream now. The hunters appear to have taken all of the bodies out from the cove as they started pulling back the tarps. But we will post a report later with photos and videos of what happened here today. But this pod of melon-headed whales lost their lives, and they'll now be reduced to slabs of meat. Thank you so much for joining us. Please do share this live stream and keep an eye on our social media for any further updates.